Well, the Indiana State Museum says it's doing something it usually doesn't do, opening an exhibit that tackles a very tough topic. Business of Health reporter Kylie Valletta has more. Kylie.
Thank you very much, Gary. This weekend, the Indiana State Museum is opening a year-long exhibit called Fix, Heartbreak and Hope Inside Our Opioid Crisis. It aims to help Hoosiers view the opioid crisis through a new lens, building empathy and reducing the stigma that surrounds opioid use disorder. Cathy Ferree is president and CEO of the Indiana State Museum and Historic Sites. She joins me now to tell us more about this new exhibit. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Kylie, for having us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. We talked a little bit about this is kind of a darker topic than what the museum typically focuses on. So why is a museum a good place to have this conversation versus other places?
What we want to do, and interesting that you would say that it's a darker topic, and that's actually what we're trying to work against. So museums, according to the American Museum Association, are the most trusted institutions in the country. So we know that people come to museums curious and interested, asking questions, and this is a topic that is normally very isolating. So we want to have a place where people can come and ask questions and be curious and get answers without being judged and feel like it's a safe environment.
Yeah, speaking of that, you know, a stigma surrounds opioid use disorder. I mean, people, to be very frank, sometimes think people who are addicted are weak or have some other character flaw, but you guys are really focusing on breaking that perception.
And breaking the stigma, A, by having it at the museum so that you can ask questions without anyone questioning you, and B, really focused on the science and the impact. And we had 16 very brave Hoosiers come forward and tell their stories. So you can see people just like yourself who've been through this and understand it, or you can look into the science to understand it, or the data. Depending on what you're really interested in, we can bring you into a topic that you might not know a lot about, and then move you through the larger story.
And the data and the science is showing it's a disease.
It's a disease, absolutely.
So,
brain disease.
Right, and this exhibit also it focuses on the positive side. It talks a lot about hope and recovery. So tell us about, you know, the positive messages that you want people to take away.
It's an interesting, we are really looking at, by breaking that stigma, that allows people to have hope because you're no longer isolated or shamed by it, but you better understand it. And then with a lack of information, people just make up things. So they, you know, what they read in a book or they saw on TV, and most of those things are fiction. So what we're hoping is that people will walk out with a better understanding, a deeper understanding of what opioid use disorder looks like and how they might be able to make a difference. So we're hoping that people will change their language behind it. Instead of saying addicts, it's people with opioid use disorder, and really think about, is there someone that they should probably reach out to? Just to sort of help them break down that isolation. And lastly, be trained on Narcan. So anyone can administer that. It's an antidote. It doesn't do anyone harm, but it has saved many, many lives. So we are hoping to give you tools, not only to better understand, but to walk away with some things that are actionable, so you too can make a difference in this crisis.
Obviously, this exhibit is in Indianapolis, but talk about how you're expanding this conversation statewide.
One of the reasons we felt we were appropriate for this is because we are a statewide entity. We have 12 locations, as far north as Rome City and as far south as New Harmony. So our sites also serve as safe environments for people to have conversations. And it has hit the rural and the urban. It has not decided, you know, oh, you are not involved or you are. Everyone is involved at some level. So what we can do at those sites is have what we call courageous conversations and bring in the people in that community together in a safe environment to have this conversation. We can bring community partnerships together. We can have Narcan training. So we're really working with each individual community on what it is we can do to help them have a better conversation or different conversation about opioid use disorder than they've been able to have before.
All right, well, definitely a new topic for the museum. Good luck this year with the exhibit. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Gary, back to you.